There we go. We're just going to wait like maybe a few more minutes, allow everyone to join in, and then Alex will kick us off.
Look at this bull, man. Not Jim Kenny. Mayor Jim Kenny. Fuck out of here.
Make sure everyone, when you come in, please mute yourselves. And it is being recorded, so we can put this on, share this out later. We just wait like 2 or 3 more minutes, and then Alex, you can get started.
Okay, sounds good.
Make sure as you're coming in, please be muted. All right, so as people are coming in, because we do know we have precious time on hand until 6:30. So again, welcome everyone, Mayor Scholars. My name is Lulu Kelleher. I am the academic advisor to this group, so I'm excited to have you here and community together. Just so some tech stuff. I will be managing the chat room and managing muting and all that jazz. It's also live transcriptions. So if you need it, you can just take your mouse and go down to the bottom bar. It says live transitions, and you click CC, and it helps you with the translations. It will also be embedded in the recording, which we are doing recording right now. So thank you so much, everyone. We're excited to have you, and I'm going to hand it over to our amazing treasurer, Alex.
Thank you, Lulu, for that great introduction. Hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us this evening. My name is Alex Choi, and I'm a junior in the School of Engineering and the current treasurer of the Mayor Scholars Program. I'm from Northeast Philadelphia and a graduate of Central High School. On behalf of the other members of the executive board, alongside Lulu, I want to say how happy we are to have you here with us, Mayor Kenny, on this night as we formally welcome not only 1, but 2 incoming classes of the Mayor Scholars Program, the class of 2024 and class of 2025. As many of you heard during our retreat last week, the Mayor Scholars Program is here to enhance your Penn experience at any way we can, whether it be through mentorship, academic initiatives, social events, and opportunities for both community service and alumni networking. As a Mayor Scholar, you all join a community of individuals with diverse backgrounds, talents, and interests that are all united by a common thread, our home, the city of Philadelphia. For that reason, I can think of no one better to welcome you, the newest class of Mayor Scholars, than the Mayor of Philadelphia himself. It is a great honor to introduce you to our esteemed guest for the evening, Mayor Jim Kenny. Mayor Jim Kenny is...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
My apology.
No, it's okay. Just a quick introduction for Mayor Kenny for those who don't know him. Mayor Kenny has served as the mayor of Philadelphia since 2016. Previously, he was a member of the Philadelphia City Council for 23 years, and during that time, served on the Independence Blue Cross and was an adjunct professor here at the University of Pennsylvania. Mayor Kenny is a lifelong resident of Philadelphia, born and raised in South Philadelphia, graduating from St. Joseph's Preparatory School and LaSalle University. Like many of us here today in MSP, Mayor Kenny was the first to graduate from college and his family, an incredible achievement that many of us will never forget. We are so honored that he's here with us tonight. And so without further ado, please join me in welcoming Mayor Kenny.
Thanks, Alex. I appreciate it, and good evening to everyone. And I'm really happy to be with you, even though it's virtually, to recognize the talented students who are joining the Mayor Scholars Program. As many of you know, one of my top priorities when I came into office was to ensure that all our young people have access to a quality education from pre-K to 12th grade and also higher levels of education. Through the beverage tax, which is not always popular, but very important, we've established a free quality pre-K program and created community schools where students' academic and non-academic needs can be assessed. As you know, we're dealing with a lot of children living in poverty, and their needs are beyond just the books and what they get in the classroom. This year, we'll be able to serve up to 4,000 children through PHL Pre-K, and nearly 10,000 students will attend one of the city's 17 community schools. In partnership with the school district and with support of the Board of Education, we have increased funding for our schools and developed partnerships to ensure that students are supported to succeed in school and transition into post-secondary opportunities. And with the Community College of Philadelphia, we've established the Octavius Caddo Scholarship to help first-time college students with last dollar tuition, basic needs support, academic and career coaching, and enhanced connection to services. And I would urge all of you to do a little study on Octavius Caddo and find out about him and all of his contemporaries who are African-American Philadelphians who had a major impact on the city's direction and growth and were basically not known in the history books. So looking ahead, we will continue to prioritize education because our city's future depends on the success of our schools, and the University of Pennsylvania has been a staunch supporter of our efforts. Penn has remained the epicenter of higher education in Philadelphia for centuries and continues to support the growth and success of our future leaders like all of you here today. I'm thrilled that you have chosen to pursue higher education, especially here in Philadelphia. I encourage all of you to explore our great city, visit our public spaces, seek opportunities to meet Philadelphia natives and visitors alike, visit some of our historical attractions, and get involved in the local community. And to all of you who have already established roots in Philadelphia, I hope you continue all the amazing work you've been doing to serve our city and its residents. When you work outside of your comfort zone, sometimes you can achieve much more. I have no doubt that all of you will make great contributions to the Penn community and to our city and country as a whole. So thank you all again for inviting me here tonight. Congratulations to our newest scholars. I wish you all sincerely the best of luck in all of your studies. Your life is ahead of you, and we look forward to great things.
Thank you again, Mayor Kenny, for being with us here today. Right now, I would like to open up the floor to any questions that any of the members have now. If you can, filter them through the chat, or you can raise your hand and we'll call on you guys whenever you guys are ready. I see we have a question from Ava.
Yes, hi. Thank you again, Mayor Kenny, for joining us today. My question is regarding what made you want to get involved in politics and government, especially on a kind of local level in Philadelphia?
Well, life is sometimes filled with challenges and choices that you make. One of the things I wanted to do was to go to law school, and I didn't do that. And at my age, I still regret the fact that I made the choice not to go. I did really poorly in the LSATs when I first took them and was quite frustrated at my results and was kind of embarrassed just decided not to pursue it. So as a result of my interest in the law, the next reasonable thing became politics and government because it's so closely associated with the practice of law. I worked for a couple of years while I was a junior and senior at LaSalle as a volunteer in the state senator's office in South Philly. Went on staff in 1980 as kind of a walk-in constituent service worker. Became chief of staff in the district office in 1985, and then worked for, 1985, 86, and then worked until 1991 in that office, and decided that I wanted to try to run for office myself. And I ran for an at-large position in city council in 1991, was successful, and then got sworn in 92, and then ran in 6 different elections, and then ran for mayor in 2015 and won 2 terms. I really do enjoy helping people. I really do enjoy the individual opportunity to help people one-on-one. I try to do that even as mayor, at least once or twice a week, to take on some issue with some person and get my hands into the issue myself and try to solve their problem, or at least address their problem and make their situation better. I went through a Jesuit high school, and the Jesuits teach you that you're not really happy until you're in service to others. So that feeling of being in service to others, helping others with their issues, helping people who are immigrants, for example, or people coming from other countries. We see the Afghanis coming in through our airport. That is, after all we've been through in the last 17, 18 months of just really horrible things that we've had to go through, watching those people come through that airport was like reinvigorating for me. It was like I was thinking of our version of Ellis Island, with these folks, fleeing possible death with their kids and their families, and coming through our airport into a new and a life of freedom. So it's having those kinds of experiences that kind of makes me feel good about being in politics. Obviously, it's all not that beautiful and wonderful. There's lots of things as you can see, what we've been dealing with both nationally and locally in the past almost 2 years now is very challenging and very frustrating. But you got to try to find ways to assist people and to make people feel better about themselves, and therefore you get that joy. I could talk a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, William.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my mic wasn't off.
Okay, I
Sorry
could
about
talk
that.
a little. I could talk a little bit about our situation when it comes to vaccinations and with the COVID issue. We were the first city in the country to get to 70% vaccinations with at least one vaccine administered. So 70% of the people, we're right now at about 81%, 81 plus percent of people with at least one dose. We are at about 67, 68% of the population vaccinated with 2 doses. And we're planning now on how to stand up the booster shot situation, which we're going to face in the next few months. We have most of our seniors are all vaccinated for the most part, of all ethnicities and races. Surprisingly, not surprisingly, but I was very happy to see that of all the major cities in the country, our Latinx population is of some of the highest vaccination levels, more so than African Americans and white Caucasians. So that's really good. 18 to 40-year-olds, you guys, I don't know about, I won't ask anybody what their vaccination status is, but 18 to 40-year-olds across racial and ethnicity situations, people are not getting vaccinated, and that's causing problems, especially with the variant. And now the Delta variant's prevalent, but then I'm reading about another UH or UA or some other variant that's starting to move. The real solution to this problem is getting everyone vaccinated and wearing masks until that situation happens. And now we have this kind of political debate, this political fight over wearing a mask. And I really don't understand it. I mean, I know people are very emotional about it and very set in their ways about wearing them or not wearing them. It really isn't a big deal to ask somebody to put a mask on. And I'm just frustrated. We're all frustrated that people are refusing to do it. We've seen across the country large events, and Philadelphia this weekend was a very successful Made in America. I got to the point where I didn't with the exception of maybe 2 acts, I didn't know one name on both days of the playbill. I knew Justin Bieber, I think, and maybe 1 or 2 others, but everybody else I didn't know, so I kind of fell out of place. But we had a large event here in the middle of cleaning up after Hurricane Ida, which was very challenging. But I've seen across the country large football games, in Wisconsin and Ohio and other places that really scare me about no one having a mask on and having not everybody vaccinated. So we're going to continue to try to get people vaccinated and to work with our various communities to do that. And that's, one of the biggest things we're dealing with, in addition to gun violence, which is extremely frustrating for us. We're losing a generation of people. There are too many guns in our society. I'm not necessarily, want people not to be able to purchase guns in a good way to protect themselves or their families. But some of the things that are being sold in this country, multiple clips, every shooting you see, there's 20 shell casings on the ground. That's not protection. That's an offensive weapon. Semi-automatic weapons, ghost guns that are now manufactured, you can't trace them. They're made with multiple parts, some of it polymers that can't be picked up by metal detectors. There's way too much firepower, way too much guns in this country. And if you look at countries like Canada, United Kingdom, and other places that don't have this issue, it's because you can't get guns as readily as you can get them here. Philadelphia Police Department has taken twice as many guns off the street this year than the same time last year, and have made more than twice as many arrests for people who are carrying guns illegally, but they still keep coming. And that's a frustration for us, because most of the people that are being killed are 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And it really is frustrating for me to see that kind of sadness. The other thing that then, since really no one's asking questions, I'll talk about one other issue that is really important to me. You know, you hear about this critical race theory that is the right wing has been, blowing up people's brains with. I'm in favor of teaching the truth. And when I was a kid in elementary school, I was taught certain things about American history, but it wasn't the full truth. And I didn't get a full flavor of what everyone's contribution to this country's formation and this country's progression has been, and did not get a real true flavor of a lot of the horrors that this country has fostered upon certain groups of people in our country. And I think in order for us to really come to grips with who we are as a nation, we need to understand everybody's story here. We need to understand very clearly why Vietnamese and Cambodian people are here. Because the United States government policy at the time was to bomb them out of their own countries, and they had nowhere to go but here. The horrors that happened to African Americans and Japanese African Americans through 400 years of history, Japanese Americans during World War II. All those stories are really important for us to understand and to know that they're true and to not make those mistakes again. And so this is not just white male history in America, which is what's been taught. All the people you hear about in history are white men, and with the exception of some highly profile people like Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass and others, for the most part, those stories have not been told. So I'm a real believer in teaching true American history to all of us, so our kids can appreciate all of our contributions to our country and where we've made mistakes and where we should not repeat them. Yes, Alice or Ifas or Allison, whoever.
I'll go first. Hi, Mayor Kenny. Thank you so much for being here. I was wondering what you would recommend young people like us to do to get more involved in the political scene in Philadelphia.
I think that for those who live on campus or those who commute and live in their neighborhoods, I think that the neighborhood civic associations are really a good place to start. I think volunteering at your local elementary school or an elementary school on the campus of Penn would be a really good place to get a feel for what people are living with and going through. I think making contact with the local state representative or state senator or member of the United States Congress, stopping in their office, meeting with their staff and talking about how maybe you could, be involved as a volunteer to start with, and maybe, down the road, a job in Washington or a job in Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, or back in your hometown with your own, if you are a student who's come from another place, hooking up with a member of Congress in your own district where you live. There's lots of opportunities in government for people. And it's not just, and there's different ways of doing it. You can become involved in the campaign side. We're going to have a lot of campaigns coming up in 2022. Volunteering for a United States Senate campaign or a congressional campaign is a really great way to meet people. And then you're going to have the presidential coming up again in 24. And there's lots of opportunities there. That's the kind of practitioner side of politics. When it comes to the government side, local elected officials, if they're smart and you walked into their office, they would embrace your involvement because you get a really intelligent person as a volunteer for a while. And I think that's really important. We're always looking for folks to intern in our office in city government and in various offices around the government. So I would just contact call my office, ask for Travis Saunders, and she can put you in the right direction.
Hey, Mayor Kenny, thank you for being here. I guess you had mentioned Philadelphia was the first city to have reached 70% first dose vaccinations. And I was wondering if you could go more into depth about how Philly as a city was able to achieve that, because I know historically getting like underrepresented people vaccinated has been difficult, but yeah.
We made some mistakes in the beginning. We contracted with one or two groups that really weren't probably we should have been dealing with. And then we realized in our mistake that we were not reaching out to the grassroots folks. For example, the Black Doctors Consortium, Dr. Stanford organized that. There's a lot of hesitance in the African-American community over the history of medicine and research and science in the lives of Black people in America. Tuskegee experiment, those kinds of things are, historical problems for African-Americans in trusting medicine and trusting science. But getting your shot or getting talked to about that by a person who you can trust, who looks like you, who has similar experiences that you've had in life is a better way of convincing people that this is safe and it's good for them. So that organization, for example, was terrific. We dealt with a lot of the Latinx nonprofits throughout our city, and they also conducted vaccine clinics. We went to people's neighborhoods with pop-up vaccine clinics in rec centers and in libraries and in vehicles where we drive into the neighborhood and do it. We set up a large vaccine site at the convention center in downtown Philly, which vaccinated lots and lots of people. And it's just basically it's going to the people. It's having places that are convenient for them to get to by public transit, and it's going in the neighborhoods where people live and work, and get them to talk to them and get to convince them to take it. I think the best people to talk to folks about vaccines are their own doctors, the people that they go to for everything else, and the people that they trust. And that's there's just not one way of getting that done. There's multiple ways, and you have to be open-minded when people come to you with ideas on how to do these things. We tried, for example, with the Wharton School at Penn to do some kind of lottery where people in underserved zip codes had a chance to win $50,000, a couple of times during the course of the month, and it didn't work. I mean, it just didn't generate the kind of interest that we thought that a big prize would generate. So we kind of got rid of that and went back to going out to neighborhoods and talking to people and civic associations and religious groups. The churches played a big role. Black churches played a big role. The temples, the mosques, where people trust the people that they interact with, and that's how we've been able to do as well as we've done.
I think we have a question in the chat from Grace. She's asking, how did you stay or become civically engaged as a college student?
I wasn't. I wasn't until I went to the state senator's office and volunteered. But I really didn't think all that much about it. And again, it was in line with me looking to go to law school, which didn't work out for me, and then led me through a friend of mine who knew the senator and introduced me, and then I got involved and really started to understand and learn grassroots politics from the ground up, and then got involved in government myself. But this was not something that I did or was necessarily interested in my whole life. I was always interested in what was going on in the news. I read a lot of history, still do read a lot of history. So yeah, I just mostly you learn that relationships, what give you the opportunity to open doors for you. It's people that you meet, people that like you, people that want to mentor you. They're the folks that will put you in directions that will get you where you want to be. But I do think that in Philadelphia, with the diversity that we have, the opportunity for people who don't look like me to get involved in politics, you're all going to be the next wave of people that are going to run the governments and be involved in politics and government. I have 2 years plus left. Probably won't do anything more necessarily in politics. And I got to move over for young people to move in. And the other issue, which I think is really important, is you guys are so technologically advanced compared to me and compared to my generation, that it is you can own the world with the right moves and the right opportunities. You can really do well. So just keep moving forward and try things. I always wanted to be in the theater club in high school. I played football and I played ice hockey, and I was always afraid my friends were going to razz me about being in the theater. And again, I regret not doing it. Now you can try things and maybe you don't like them and you just move on. but don't ever not try something or experience something because you're afraid what other people will say, because that's really not a very good thing.
All right, I think we have time for one more question. I think Lindsay or yeah.
Good evening. I have a question. I saw that you were part of Mayors for a Guaranteed Income. And
Yes.
I just wanted to ask if you were still planning to like introduce like a basic income pilot program in the city.
We're working on that now. As a matter of fact, I have a meeting on that this week to be briefed on the progress we're making. We saw during PPP, during the Paycheck Protection Program, that, you know, it salvaged people's lives. It salvaged people's homes. It allowed them to feed their kids when they couldn't get work because their industries were shut down. There are some people who just sadly need a little bit of extra help. That earned income tax credit that we're pushing for people to do to get money back for their children is money that is their tax money that should be coming back to them. So I think giving people a little bit of a stipend to make sure that they don't become homeless, that they have the ability to feed themselves and their kids, I think is something that, you know, obviously, if you're a right winger, you'll be totally against. But I feel that empathetic and compassionate towards people who are having a hard time, and I do believe it would reduce crime, having people not having to go out and shoplift or steal from people to make their way. And I think that given a little bit of help, it gets people on their feet and it lets them be more self-sufficient.
All right, I think we'll call it there.
All right, man.
Thank you again.
I do appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the work you're going to do, the hard work you have now, but all the things you're going to do in the future. Hope you do them in Philadelphia. We'd love to have you stay and contribute to our community. But whatever you do, good luck to you. And I look forward to interacting with you again.
Thank you again, Mayor Kenny, for
Cheers.
taking the time out of your day to come and speak with us.
Thank
And we
you.
hope to see you again next year, hopefully in
Yep.
person.
Yes, that'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thanks.